Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Relocate with Nat. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I am sitting here quietly with my little doggy, which you can't see because we don't want the Dominican experience. But what we do want to hear, what Dominican experience we want to hear about, is about how Meghan is doing. This is a follow-up for those of you who didn't see the first video. Meghan and I sat down probably over a year ago, I think. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely over a year ago. I was still pregnant, so
Yeah,
it's
so still pregnant. So
definitely
now you have an additional title. So you are the chief experiment ops. No,
chief experience officer or CEO. I am also
yes,
the chief executive officer for Wildly Digital,
for Wildly Digital,
and
but also you hold the title of mom now.
I do.
Beautiful little
Yeah,
girl named Reina. She's just over a year old now already.
she is. She's 14 months today. Well, yesterday, actually.
Wow,
Yesterday.
that's crazy. It goes
Yeah.
so fast. So one of the reasons we're doing this video is because Megan posted something before Christmas that really just like was a huge flash for me and spoke to me in a way that I knew we had to share this. And it was really about the realities of living here, not only as us expats living here, but also as business owners and what that looks like, really. So let's dive in. So since we first met, you have moved from Sosua to far away.
Far away. So I'm in Llano de Perez, which is about 10 minutes outside of Imber, which is an hour and 11 minutes on Google. Actually, I think it's a little bit less now that the bridge is open, but about an hour away from Sosua and Cabarete.
So like I said, folks, it's far.
It's far.
Well, it
Yeah,
it's all relative. I think the distance is all relative. But what was I mean, let's be honest, there was a strategy behind you guys moving there as well.
definitely. So I'm in the Campo, which is like the Dominican communities that they call up here in the mountain range. It's a little valley between mountains, but this is where Reina's father lives and her family lives so that we have more help because I needed help. A
And
baby's a lot of work.
yes, it is a lot of work. And hey, it takes two to tango, so it takes two to take care. And it takes and that expression of it takes a village is for real. And I think that the fact that
Yeah.
you have that is an incredible testament to, to him and to his family. But moving to the campo, that I think the first question people will not want to know is, do you feel safe there? I
So
know,
I'm
but that's what I mean. I live in Cabarete, and people ask me the same question.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel very safe here. My house, like I don't know if you can see in the reflection of the window, I'm sitting on
Yeah,
my front
yeah.
porch, is fully barred. So there are two rows of bars in front of me. There's like my little whatchamacallit, front porch. It's
Yeah.
fully barred and has a door, which is right beside me. And then there's another door that kind of like is a little bit further off. So no one can reach their hands in or do anything. And then
No.
I have a giant um, metal gate that closes in my garage area. Actually, I can kind of show you over here. So this is where my car is, and then there's
Yeah.
like a gate area over there. And then there's also I'm kind of locked in here. There's also a chain link fence that goes around the
Okay.
entire property, and every window in this place is barred. So
Okay.
I feel very safe. It's honestly, the community here is so nice that most of the time we do like feel safe. My business partner and best friend Kate, she lives down the street. Little different there. She's living in a bit of a construction zone right now, so they actually had a an incident the other night with someone coming in through the broken gate. But that's kind of the thing. It's not really you're targeted or anything like that. It's like a regular neighborhood. You could get
Yeah.
broken into if you're living in Canada, if you're living in the States. It's more of just like crime of convenience kind of thing around
Yeah.
here.
That's what I was gonna say. Opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're so sweet. Everyone is so nice here. Like The other day I had to get my driveway fixed because it was corroding, because it's a dirt road. I do live on a dirt road. There's
Yeah.
pavement up until about 3/4 of the way into the street that I'm on. Well, alleyway. But yeah, there was a woman sitting across from me that's like my neighbor, and someone had run over the part that had just been paved, and she was like, "Move your car here, do this." Like, they're so helpful and they're so sweet. And Raina is Little Miss Popular. For a 14-month-old, she is like the most popular kid in the neighborhood. So every day there's kids that come around and they're like, "Donde la chichi? Donde la chichi?" Because that's where's the baby.
Yeah.
Every day, every single day.
That's
So it's
wonderful.
it's just a little, yeah, it's a little family community, and everyone knows each other here. So really, like, it is a village. It really is a village, and everyone knows each other or is related to each other. So, like, Samuel and his sister live together.
Yeah.
His brother lives down the street with Kate. His mom lives about 10 minutes up the road. His best friend lives down the street from him. Like, all, like, they've grown up together.
Yeah.
The entire community has been friends since they were kids. So everyone knows who I am. That's for
Clearly,
sure.
you're the Chi-Chi's mama.
Yeah, and there's only 2 white girls that live in this community, so it's either
Well,
me.
then that would be the other obvious one. So it goes without saying, because I'm sure this is the other burning question people have. And not to, you have to only have to give the numbers away, but the cost of living, meaning the rental, is significantly lower than in
Yeah.
a town area like Sosua or Cabarete.
Oh my gosh, yeah, our expenses have been cut in a third of what they were in Sosua. Like,
Wow.
it is. I'm fully open to being honest. It's 11,500 pesos to rent this house. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with hot water. Like, it's good living for this area, and it's
Wow.
about $275 Canadian, or $200 US
What?
a month. Yeah, I pay 150 pesos a month for water. I haven't gotten my first electricity bill, but based off of what Kate pays down the street, it's like 1,000 pesos a month for electricity here. Yeah,
I'm
so
a
like
bit
25.
speechless right now. I don't know what to say.
I
Okay. So I
know.
think that, but I think it's a great reality that, listen, and we want to preface that this is not for everybody. Like, you may not want to live in the Campo, and that's okay. But I think it goes to what I say all the time, depends on what you want. And some people might want to have the Campo. Like for us, um, we live where we live also because our daughter goes to school, and it's much more convenient for me to be on this side of Cabarete to get to school. Takes me, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes to go pick her up. If we lived somewhere else, like on Cabarete East, let's say, it would take, I mean, I'd have to drive through Cabarete 4 times a day. I don't want to do that. So there
Yeah.
are trade-offs, right? And this is your situation for now, maybe not forever.
Yes. To give you the opposite side of it, because there's always pros and cons, right?
Yes.
It does take us like an hour to drive anywhere, even going into Puerto Plata. If it's a busy day, like, we have one road that we can drive to get anywhere. And if there's something going on, like especially right now with the elections, our trips can take, like, when we come to the networking events, it can take us like 2 hours to get to Sosua in the morning. And then the other thing too is that because we live in the Campo, there aren't very many houses that are gringa or gringo houses. That's what this is kind of like called.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a Dominican roof, which Dominican roofs, as much as they let bugs in, are really good for letting moisture escape. So I have a mold problem that I'm dealing with in my house too.
Okay.
So there are pros and cons. I'm trying to find an expert to come take a look and like figure out how to get rid of this mold problem. But yeah, it's definitely like you have to really be willing to deal with
Some of
the
those things.
remoteness
Yeah.
of being out
Yeah.
here.
The remoteness.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
I mean, listen, we only have one road here, and we sometimes have to deal with things that,
Yeah.
you just, and I know that that can be frustrating for some people. So, I mean, is this something you see as a long-term situation,
Uh,
or are you going to
it's
join
kind of,
us back into the
yeah, it's kind
city
of,
life?
it's up in the air right now.
Yeah,
I'm kind of taking it month by month. I
yeah,
do really like living here. I really love this house. I think it's everything that I wanted, especially
yeah,
up here. I feel really blessed that I found it.
yeah.
But it really is dependent on like, can I get some of these things under control, that because like this house hasn't been lived in a year and a half.
Okay.
So it's kind of just like I'm working with the landlord to, fix everything up. She actually was like, "Would you just want to buy it?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to buy your house."
I want to buy a house. I guess that would be more convenient
Yeah.
for her.
More
Yeah.
convenient for her for sure. So I do have a 6 month lease that's up in June, and then I'll make some decisions from there on
So
what I want to
decisions
do.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm also debating on going back to Canada for 6 months just to give my family some time with Reina, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then also do some business stuff there too, because that's the other thing we were going to talk about is
Oh,
business.
100% business because I mean, listen, we made a choice to try this relocation thing. Both of us have. We both have businesses that I think work in and out of the DR.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that we've faced challenges. Like even I have faced a couple of challenges in the last week thinking, okay, how can I pivot to be more present online and not that I don't want to teach in person, but there is an opportunity here for me to expand my base online.
Mhm.
So I mean, obviously we're recording, so you have the internet, so you're able to work.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, which is a plus. Some days we do get cut off because the power does go out here.
Yeah,
Uh, but there's a solution for that. Like we're looking into getting a mini generator just so that if the power does go out, that we
yeah,
can still plug the internet box in. But it doesn't even go out for very long here. Like I found that there are days in Sosua that it's been out longer than it's been out here.
yeah,
So it does
yeah.
work out fine. But I obviously have good quality internet. I can
Well, I'm
work.
not seeing any issue at all. And I mean, this is that we've been chatting for a short time. So that, I mean, I think that's one of people's first, I have a client, potential relocation client looking into coming down, and her question was like, what's the internet like? Because her husband works in videography, downloads,
Yeah.
uploads, things like that. So there is quite a good system set up here. So people are able to work quite comfortably here. I mean, I do
Mhm.
recordings, I do online coaching. It works. It's not that it
It
doesn't
works.
work. However,
Yeah.
there are challenges that, like for myself, and I think for you too, some clients are in Canada, and having that sort of in person is more effective, or, better. I don't want to say it's better.
No, you're right. It's more effective. Like that's one thing that we've found, especially recently, is uh there are certain things that you kind of need that person to person relationship. Like if you want to do a photo shoot, or if
Yeah.
you're like for me with some of the work that I do, like it works better if I can go, if someone has an office, if I can go in and actually be on their computer and see how they have things organized, or sit
Yes.
down with them in person, like those sort of things just resonate better. But so far I've been able to, like, since the video, actually, I've been able to bring on about 4 clients. So I'm
Yes.
busy now, very busy. But managing, because that's the nice thing about the internet is like, if you work online, and this is different if you don't work online, but if you work online, everything can be connected virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality too of being here is that you cannot get a job in the Dominican Republic. So you cannot get I don't want to say Dominican job, but you cannot just readily find work here. Now I know of people
No.
who have found work, and that's a whole other video. But technically you really cannot find work. So if you are deciding to come down, whether it be here to the DR or maybe to another country, you have to check out what is possible. And here what is possible is having your own business online, or investing in a business. I know that you guys had originally invested into restaurant, and you
Yeah.
decided that that was not your zone of genius.
No, no,
No, and you know what
not
though?
with the baby. That's for
Not with the
sure.
baby, no. But I mean, I applaud you for trying it, because I think that's part of this whole experience is like we come down, you try it. You don't like it, you can go back, or you could try something different. And that's what I want people to start embracing. Just recently I read a post, and one woman wrote, "Oh, if it was that easy to relocate, we would all do it." And I actually answered and said, "Well, it's not exactly all that easy, but with a plan, you can execute something." So, um,
Yeah.
how does work look like for you now? Like it's an online. I know we work together in person actually, so that was fun because having that, setting that up.
Yeah.
What would you be the challenges for anybody thinking of coming here, or things that they should consider, in your opinion?
So yeah, definitely having a plan. Like I would say to relocate effectively, have some sort of income already coming in, like whether that is that you talk to your boss if you're in a corporate setting and you do work on the computer all day, like there's no reason why you can't do it here. Like you can. Or if you work for yourself, like just make sure you have a plan for getting clients outside of the DR, because what we've found is we do have clients here. But again, it's kind of like the same thing as if you were going to go find a job here. The average income of a Dominican is much lower
Yeah,
than someone who's from, say, Canada or the States, or even the
yeah,
U or in Europe. So we have created a sliding scale. So we have Dominican pricing, and then we have expat pricing, and then we have our out of country pricing.
yeah.
So we give discounts based off of where you're located, and that has helped us. Like we do some project work here with clients more than anything. We don't really have anything long term because
Yeah.
just from the bandwidth, it's a little bit more difficult for them to support it. But yeah, like really, if you're a business owner, be creative, come up with
I like
a
that. I
scale.
like the idea of a sliding scale.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, because I know that for myself, and I think it's the same thing, is I won't charge in the Dominican what I would charge if I was in North America,
Right.
because it's just not feasible here for the same thing. However, I think that it's really important that to recognize that it is still a business, and we still need to be compensated for the services
Yeah.
and the skill set that we are providing. So, and that's why I always
Yeah.
say to business owners, like at least charge a little something if you're going to do a workshop, or you're going to do something where people are going to gain, so that there's commitment, but there's also, you're being recognized for what you do. Okay. So what are
Exactly.
some of the other things? Okay, so we said that that they should have a plan. And if they want to plan, well, they need to talk to you because you have the best planning calendar out there. Just saying.
Thank you.
Humble shout out. Um, and I guess, what are your top tips? What are something like that we can leave people with, that if they're thinking of doing this, that they plan for? I don't know what other word to use, but plan.
Yeah. Have a year plan. Like using my planning calendar is a really great way to get that started. So be thinking ahead. Like think about what you need to like having a budget, understanding of what you want to
Yeah.
be spending while you're here, and
Yeah.
then
What you want
also
to make.
thinking about what you want to make, and
Yeah.
thinking about the expenses that you have in your business because of being out of the country. So if it is a type of work where you do need to be flying back and forth, you need to include that in your budgeting. Like, okay, I have to think about travel expenses. My
Yeah.
travel is going to go up. Even if you're not planning on traveling for work, but you know you're going to be going to see your family and stuff like that. Like my family, we plan, oh my gosh, my mom and I plan at least 6 to 9 months ahead of time about where we're going to be, what's our plan, how are we going to make it work. Like I already know for sure that I'm going to be in Canada in August, potentially leaving a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
depending on work. But then that's the other thing is like thinking about your next 90 days. Like what is happening in 90-day sprints? The same way you would in a business of any type is like, okay, the first 90 days is how I'm getting there and what I'm doing. Then the next
Yeah.
90 days is testing it out and seeing how it's going. I would also recommend having a savings, like save an extra, I don't know, 3 months minimum of income that you would usually have just in your back pocket in case anything happens. Because that's the other thing that happened to us is by relocating, some of our clients did drop off, not necessarily because we left the country, but just from a manifestation perspective. Like you're not in that country anymore. There's things that are happening to them that change their circumstances. You're
Yes.
going through stuff, like be ready for that because it's going to happen and businesses change all the time. So I would say be thinking about how you want to get new clients, how you want to keep bringing on new clients, because new business is what's going to keep you alive. Relying on your existing business when you decide to relocate is going to affect how your business flows. If you have employees, same thing. We had one of
Yeah.
our employees switch jobs 3 months after I moved here. And it was a huge hit to our business. It
Yeah.
completely changed the way that we were structuring things. So be prepared for that stuff. The same way that you would in a regular, like if you're living in Canada or you're living in the
Yeah.
States or wherever you are. Yeah, being cognizant of what's coming will help you. I think the other thing too is be flexible. Like it is
Mm.
huge to be okay with things changing, because I think
Yeah.
when we have this idea of like, okay, this is how much money I need to be making, this is what's going to happen, and then you get here, it changes. And show up everywhere too. Like if you are working online, like I know Brett does it, like being on Upworks, being on Fiverr, like make sure
Yeah.
you have backup for what you're
Resources.
doing.
Yeah. Use the resources
Yeah,
that are out there for you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
exactly. And then if you're thinking about working with the Dominicans as well, like be cognizant of their lifestyle. Like they do not function the way we do. They just
No.
don't. They have a very different lifestyle. Like I know from running the restaurant, it was a extremely humbling experience. Kate likes to say she could have invested $20,000 into school, but she got a crash course in business management from running a restaurant. And like do your due diligence. Like if you're working out of the country, make sure that your taxes are set up properly. Talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer. Like those sort of things are really important. And then also finding resources here as well. And even having an accountant that can bridge the gap between both. I don't know. Do you know Deborah Rosario?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she and I have been talking quite a bit because she's come on as our accountant.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and she's really great at bridging the gap. So there's some things that she's told me about like citizenship and stuff like that that I wasn't aware of, which they have this information. So setting up like
Yeah.
your advisors will really help you as well. And then yeah, and if you want to extend your business, like if you're an existing Canadian business but you want to be working here in the DR, like you want to be licensed in the DR, just make sure that you read very clearly what their rules are, because
Yeah.
there's rules about like having 80% Dominican staff, which a lot of Canadians or Americans don't think about when they come here. Vacations is different. Firing and hiring is different. If they quit, like you also have to give them an extra month of pay if they're like for Christmas. Like if they're here, if they work with you for longer than 3 months, they get benefits. You have to pay for that. They get an extra month of salary at Christmas. They get paid vacation days on holidays. Like there's a lot of labor laws that are very different
I
from.
better talk to my cleaning lady. I don't know if that applies to her necessarily, but we do give her extra at the holidays. So
Well, there you go. And I think like
yeah,
it kind of is a hit or miss thing. It depends on what your contract is
yeah,
like with them as well. But
yeah,
I know for if you're doing direct business, like there's
yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
And really think about citizenship, because that's also the big thing is like a lot, like right now I'm not a citizen, but now that I have a baby, especially now that I have a Dominican baby, like there's a lot of things that I'm like, I need to get citizenship.
Yeah,
Like
for sure, for sure.
it is a pretty big priority. And it also helps you with all of your bills. Like as a Dominican or a Dominican citizen, everything's kind of cut in half versus if you're a foreigner, like you do have to pay more.
Yeah,
And it is just the reality of what living here is like.
yeah. So if
Yeah.
you are
Even going to like,
thinking, we'll say that again.
oh, I was gonna say, even if you want to go like up the cable card, like at the Teleferico, like even that, if you're a citizen, gets you a
Yeah.
discount.
Well, I think that, and these are all really valid and important points, and none of them should stop you from relocating or, but it's about being informed. It's about being informed.
Yeah.
Um, so what is the best way to reach out to you if anybody's looking for help in your digital world, whether it be online or in person? What's the
Uh,
best way to reach you?
Follow us on socials at Wildly Digital Co. Send us an email, inquiries at wildlydigital.com. We are also starting a podcast that's coming out soon.
Ooh, yes.
Yes. So we're going to be talking more intimately, like kind of like the conversation we're having now about our experience from Kate and I
Yeah.
being in the Dominican, as well as how to do business internationally, because that
Yeah.
is it's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say socials, Wildly Digital Co. or send us an email, inquiries at wildlydigital.com,
Awesome.
or WhatsApp me. So
We're gonna drop all that in the description. So everybody
yeah,
will be able to click on that. And if you are considering relocation, I know it can be scary because we've done it. But if you don't want to shed any tears and you want to have somebody to support you, you can book a discovery call with me and we can discuss how working together, how that will look. You can click on the Calendly link. But remember, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you like it, share it with somebody that you think will appreciate it, and subscribe to the page, please, because the more the merrier, right? And then you get notified when the new videos come out. Any last words of wisdom?
just embrace the life that you want to live.
Yeah,
just
I love it.
just do it.
Just do it. Be happy. You only live once, right? Whatever you choose to do, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Have an incredible day, and we'll see you soon in the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks, Megan.